Hi, everyone. We're back. I'm Dr. Tina Rapke, and I've got one of my favorite people in the world, Dr. Marc Husband, with me. And we're math education experts, and we're here to talk about math. So welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for,
Welcome.
thanks so much for sharing and watching. Marc and I just want kids to really be able to learn math comfortably and to be successful and be confident learners. So that's what all of our videos are about, is just getting these ideas out there, because they're sort of locked in like research papers in math ed and only in like special groups right now. So we're trying to blast it out to the world.
Okay, and this video does not disappoint, Tina, because we're going to be talking about the power of.
So Marc, not
the power of love.
but it is kind of the power of love, but it's the power of. Of is love in this topic. Yes.
Love is love.
Yes.
Now, the reason we're going to be talking about this is because we're going to be talking about multiplying fractions, right? And usually, like those two words alone, right? So I say multiplying and I say fractions on their own can be disastrous,
Really
right?
disastrous, like
Right?
terrible.
Terrible. But when we use this word of, it can be actually something that can promote sense making and really a lot of understanding, Tina, right?
Yeah, so the word of can really produce a lot of love, really, when it comes to multiplication and fractions. And it's such a hard topic, Marc, right? Like it can really mess kids up, this topic. So again, we're here to like just talk about things that only like select few of us sort of know and that are research papers, so that it's out to everyone.
Okay, we got to start. We have to give them an example, right?
Okay.
So you were working with some students this week on finding 2/3 of 9.
Yeah, so basically I was working with students 2/3 times 9. So I'm just going to write it out for people so that they can see it, because it's multiplication and it involves fractions. So there we go. So that's what I was working. But Marc, I was working with some older kids, and I basically asked them, they need to explain that to some younger kids. So I said about grade 4 kids, how do you explain how to do this, right? So they couldn't just multiply the tops and multiply the bottoms. They actually had to explain what was going on here. And I got to say, like they had a little bit of difficulty because I don't know if they experienced the of before, but they were really easily. What they did do for me was 2 times 3. They did that really easily for me. And they said, this is 2 groups of 3. So that's where the of comes from. So 2 groups of 3. So then we tried to say, okay, well, how can we use that of for 2/3 times 9? So it's 2/3 of 9.
2/3 of 9.
But Marc, I got to say that even that's a little bit hard, right? So I asked them a better question, because 2/3 of 9, they didn't know what to do. So I asked them a better question. So what I did ask them was, I asked them a half of 9. So I'm going to just
there's that of again. So a half of 9.
But don't forget, I wrote it down as a half times 9, though.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So it's a half times 9, but we started talking about a half of 9, right?
Right.
And that was kind of easy for them.
Yeah.
A half of 9, right? They said you just split it into 2 groups. So here's my 9 here. I'm going to show you how I can just split it into 2 groups. So 2 4s, right? So there we go. So split into 2 groups, and I have 1 left over. So I got to put half into this group and half into that group. So I get 4.5. Right? And they were pretty easy with that. And then they wanted to check too, because Marc, you know how this can be 2 groups of 3, or it can be read 3, or you can think of it 3 groups of 2.
Right.
So they checked their answer. So this was 9 groups of a half. So it's basically a half 9 times. So a half plus a half. And they were pretty used to this, right? And everyone can sort of everyone probably knows the answer to this one. And so I'll just finish writing it out for people.
Ooh, so did they find all those halves in that picture?
Well, this was the cool thing, because like you can actually do this on your fingers, which is one of the great things about counting on our fingers too, right? Yeah. So we have 9, and every 2 of these are like a half plus 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 half plus half plus half plus half. Now, people know that a half plus a half is 1. So you can sort of put 2 fingers together, and that's 1, and that's 1, and that's 1, and that's 1, and then you're left with this. So you've got 4, right? You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you've got this half sitting there. So you've got 4.5. So that's kind of cool that they can check each way.
Yeah.
But then I want to go back to 2/3, right?
Right, because we started talking about 2/3 of 9.
Yeah. So, but I didn't go there right away. What I did go to though was 1/3 of 9.
Oh,
So let
okay.
me show you what that looks like, because it's really great, and people will be able to see it right away. So it's 1/3 of 9, or 1/3 times 9.
Okay, 1/3 of 9. Yeah.
Yeah. So if everyone just thinks of that for a second.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it right now. 1/3 of 9 of 9.
And
So
these are nice questions too, Mark, because I folded them back to a half first, and then a third, and then we talked about 2/3. So there's our 1/3 of 9, right?
Yeah.
And I've got my 9 things here still.
Yeah.
So you can still see that I've got 9 things here, and I'm just
And
going to
move it over a little bit,
flash
Tina.
their eyes. Sorry, there we go.
Here's the 9. Yep, I see it.
So again, you can think of it this way as 9 groups of 1/3. So it's 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. And we can sort of figure out the same way. Or you can think of it as 1/3 of 9. And the same thing, you split into 3 equal groups, 9, right? So it looks like that.
There's my 3 groups.
There's your 3 groups, 1,
3, 6,
2,
9.
3. And for 1/3, you just take 1 group.
Right.
So you can just get rid of these ones, and so 1/3 is actually just 3.
1/3 is 3. Yeah, nice.
But again, I wanted to go back to what we originally asked, which was 2/3 of 9.
Oh, so now I can see it.
So now instead of taking one of the groups, because it was a 1, now you take 2 of them.
2 of them.
So you're going to take
There
these
you are.
2.
Yeah.
So then this is actually equal to 6.
6. Nice.
So this of is really, really important, Mark. And it's like, it's one of the best, well, I don't want to say one of the best kept secrets, but it's one of the biggest secrets that I think that we're holding in math, because fractions can be so traumatizing to kids, and multiplication too, right? And I imagine some of our viewers are still sort of messed up from multiplication of fractions when they were younger. So we need to get the power of out there, so that kids just aren't being traumatized, and basically human beings are being traumatized by this,
absolutely.
right?
Well, I think you did it, and I think we're out of time, so that was great. The power of.
Yeah. Then thanks to everyone for subscribing. We hope this all gets out to people.
All right. See everybody.